Big Sills. Yes, sir. Holy cow, we are here for football, man. It's content every single minute. The National Football League has now owned the sports pages. They own it. They own the sports pages, man. Yeah, dude, Ohtani, trade deadline. Now that Ohtani's not even on the trade block now, I don't give a shit about baseball. The NBA, I don't care. Funny, those are the highest paid guys in all of sports, but it's funny, our passion is football. Can I tell you why I think football, besides the great sport that it is, why you love it more than, say, NBA or baseball or hockey or whatever? You know why you do? Because players actually, 95% of them have to go out and earn their paychecks. Obviously, we're talking about a lot more zeros than what you make, the majority of the people. But most of these guys got to go out and earn it. How many people have guaranteed contracts in their life? I don't think I've ever had. I think I've had a few in broadcasting. Other than that, not really many. Not really many, man. So every American that has now fallen in love with pro football, it's because these guys have to go to work just like you. And, of course, the sport being what it is, contact. And what you can't do, like in politics, you can't change the narrative. You got beat. Like, as much as the 49er fans want to sit and cry about, well, if we had this, ain't nothing about 2020 elections in pro football. Ain't about moving ballot boxes. About scoreboard. Scoreboard, bitch. It's all you hear. It's awesome. Absolutely awesome. Micah Parsons barking about it's time for the Cowboys. We're the best team in the NFC East. Guy's the king of lip service. He ain't a king of showing up against the Eagles. Last I checked, Lane Johnson has the pink slip on that guy's ass. How you doing? We're the team to beat. Really? Well, first get around Lane. Yes. Hey, wait a minute. I have a owner's manual over here, and it says, "Dear Micah Parsons, dear Micah Parsons, Lane Johnson owns you." All he's doing is pumping his team up and himself. That's insecurity. Champions don't go like this. We're repeat champions again. You just go out and do it. See, champions don't talk with insecurities because they don't have any. Champions talk with their actions. It's just lip service. Hey, seriously, before you say the Cowboys will beat the Eagles, why don't you win a significant playoff game that matters first? You haven't in 30 years. This just in. When's the last big game the Cowboys won? Oh, that's right. The internet wasn't around. Hey, can you imagine that tone? Shit, man. Twitter wasn't even around the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. This just in. When's the last time I think Bill Clinton was in the White House. Shit. We're talking 3 presidents ago. Come on, man. Cowboys talking about it's their time. It's never the Cowboys' time. And it hasn't been the Cowboys' time in 30 years. Come on now. Hey, yeah, that's right. Look, I got something down here. What's this? Hey, Tone, here's the last time the Cowboys were good. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 8, 5, 1. Yeah. Hello, this is Jerry. Is Jerry there? Hey, is Jerry there? Well, I'm calling you on a phone, an actual hardline phone here. Yeah. And look, you see, it's even got the numbers. Don't want. Jerry's not around? Okay. Him and Joe Biden are a weekend at Bernie's. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. No problem. Hey, goodbye. See, look, that's the last time the Cowboys were good. You were pushing buttons like this. Give me a break, man. Murray Hill 7. Who are you calling? Arlington. Are you kidding me, man? Shit. Micah Parsons barking about it's their turn. Win a game. Win a game that matters, man. Honest to God. All right. So wait a minute. Hold on for a second here. Hold on. I'm breaking out. Hang on. I couldn't wait. I got to clean my glasses off too. Hold on. Wait, not clean enough. We now have a new update from Elliott Spitzer Pauly Shore. Holy shit. Another great day for Jalen Hurts. 11 of 14. No touchdowns, no picks. Look good. B+. Yeah, baby. Got a B grade going. Elliott Pauly Spitzer Shore thing for WIP gives us a daily grade on Jalen Hurts' walkthroughs. Man, that's coverage. That's elite coverage. Screw anybody else covering the team. When you can get Elliott Spitzer Pauly Shore giving you updates with helmets, shells, and shorts, you're getting an update. B+ though. Can't give him a hard A. Oh, man. Hey, by the way, I do want to say something serious that I saw on the Eagle Twitter page that I absolutely loved. Why do you guys think it's important? Or here, let's go here. Why do you think it's hard to repeat? Why do you think it's hard to repeat as a division champion, let alone get to the NFC title game or get to a Super Bowl? What's the hardest thing you think you have to fight off if you want to consistently have championship pedigree year in and year out? What's the one thing you think you have to not have a letdown like you see a lot of teams after Super Bowls, win or lose? What's the one thing you have to fight? What's that one thing? I think I saw it today. And I saw it with the Eagles. Dosa goes health. Quan injuries. Senor injuries. Moving on from last year. I love that take, Brandon. I love that take. Health. There it is, JM. JM hit it. Let's see what Tone says. Perfect. Both JM and Tone I don't think you guys desire. Look, I don't think any of you guys have a wrong answer. But tell me if you go down this lane here. And I happen to agree with Tone and JM. Ego, here, maybe if this plays it all in. I saw something today on the Eagle Twitter page. And I saw Nick Sirianni get on the offense's ass. Wasn't about drop passes or wasn't about anything like not catching a football or throwing a football, or it was more about technique. The little things. I think sometimes because you give your players, after a while, they build up equity with you as a coach. And what you'll do is, if a guy doesn't run a proper technique but still makes the catch, do you know what a coach will do? Well, he knows what it takes to get back to a Super Bowl. He knows. So you kind of overlook it. You kind of let the little things walk through practices. And you don't practice the intangibles that you did a year ago to climb that mountain. Maybe there's an extra step that when a coach sees, instead of doing a proper in route, the guy does a route, it's good enough, he catches it, and you move on. You're not practicing consistency, and you're not practicing the things you did a year ago. You know, I think a lot of teams, what happens, the coach stops driving you because you know why? He's giving you the latitude. Well, you know what it takes to get there. Look at Belichick. He drove that damn franchise for 20 years into the ground and into Super Bowls. He drove those guys year in and year out. He jumped Brady's ass. He got in everybody. He drove those guys like dogs, practicing out. 6-time Super Bowl champion, practicing outside in December in snowstorms. He didn't give a shit what the weather was. We weren't doing anything indoors. You don't play football indoors. Okay? The exact quote was, "It's got to be perfect now because it ain't freaking perfect now. It ain't going to be perfect when shit's going on in the game." Absolutely. Absolutely. And get this. You learned one thing. You learned one thing from that Kansas City game, didn't you? As good as we were, man, we had to be perfect to beat them. We have to be perfect to beat him. Man, to me, all the games that they played last year, that Kansas City game would eat at me because we weren't perfect. Do you know what it feels like to have your hand on perfection and on greatness, and you're right there at the door, and all of a sudden you lose your moment and you lose your place in history because you weren't perfect? I don't give a shit about the other team. Let me say this to you. Here, I've never asked you this question. Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Eagles, or do you think the Eagles gave it to them? If you can answer it, it's cool. Do you think and by the way, when I say gave it to him, you gave it to him because you weren't prepared mentally to do the perfect things that you needed to do to beat him. That's on your ass still. That's on your ass. Okay? Kansas City did all the things it took to be a perfect team that second half. They were perfect. They were perfect in the second half. It took that to beat you. You couldn't match perfection. That's how close you are. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, there's not a team on your schedule you can't beat. The only people you have to fight is you. There's not one team on that schedule they can't beat. Like, you go like this, you go into a game and you go, that Eagles are going to struggle against it. No. Now, you may have to travel 3,000 miles to go play Seattle after you play tough games against San Francisco. Yeah, okay. But there is not one team on that schedule where you go, no, they are a decided favorites to beat us. There's not one team there. Eagles have to, you want to win a Super Bowl? Hey, to beat Tom Brady, you had to have an A+ second half. Tone, you think the Eagles played an A+ second half against the Patriots in that 2018 Super Bowl? You think they played? And get this, foot on the gas pedal, whatever it took in that second half, you had to beat Brady. They never took their foot off the gas. That's right. That's right. And I agree, they were phenomenal in that second half. They were phenomenal. Look at Quan. One play decided that game. Of course it did. It's Brady. It's Mahomes. Here's the plays that decided the Super Bowl why you lost. There's 3, actually. The Quez drop, the special teams play, and the scoop and score. Over. Over. Night. You could pick up your commemorative. I was in the Super Bowl trophy tomorrow morning down at the garbage station. Great. You pick up your commemorative second place trophies in the trash can. Because Brady and Gronk was coming, they got hot and defense couldn't stop. Foles and those boys kept the pressure on. They did. And you saw the Patriots at the very end. Couldn't take the pressure because the Eagles just, man, they were so good in that second half. They were so good in that second half, man. You got to be perfect. And I loved it. I thought today when I saw that clip, the Eagles at NovaCare are going to practice one thing. You know what that's going to be? We have to go over every single step that we did a year ago and then some. We can't have anybody cutting corners. You can't have any cutting corners. It's a mindset that's impossible to match. But you have to do your damnedest, man. That's why focus. You know, it's funny. Tone was talking to me about the Netflix series. I don't want to do a Netflix series. I don't give a shit about that. That takes me off my game. I don't need that. I need to follow every single thing that I did. Okay? Last year, to be able to get to that football game, no questions asked. No questions asked. Real quick before I get into the topics here. So I want to show you what a bullshit artist that owner in Indianapolis is today. So I'm hearing now that Jim Irsay is walking back his comments about running backs because he was confronted by Stephen Holder, my friend from ESPN. Were you aiming that comment at Jonathan Taylor? No. So let me get this right. The owner of the Indianapolis Colts was talking about every other running back in the league, about where the pay scale is, where the negotiations are, except his own guy. Really? What a liar. What a bull-faced lie. Don't ever believe anything from that guy ever. And I'm saying you haven't not believed that guy, but he's untrustworthy. That owner is nowhere near the owner in Philadelphia or the owner in New England. They tell you who you are in Philly, and they tell you who you are in New England. Irsay's a liar. Oh, I see every running back in the league except his, who happens to be a top 3 back. He wasn't talking to. Okay, guy. What a bullshit artist. That's bullshit artist A+ in why those guys can't be counted on for any truth whatsoever. He's walked it back. No, Jonathan, I'm not talking about my guy. Yeah, he should have held out too. He should have held out too. No, he wasn't talking about his guy, but everybody else's guy. Boy, we got a lot of shit talking from head coaches and owners so far leading into training camp here. And by the way, I see Sean Payton walked it back. You can't walk that back. You can't walk back taking a shit on your own organization and another organization and say it's cool. You got to remember something. He not only took a shit on the Jets, he took a shit on the Broncos. So what are you saying? The new ownership that took over from the Bolden family let chaos run around? Well, those are the same people that gave you $20 million a year. So you thought you'd take a shit on somebody who's paying you. This place was a train wreck last year. What a bunch of losers. They gave you and brought you in and gave up first-round picks for you. Okay, Sean. I still had my Fox hat on. Well, are you in or not as a coach for the Broncos? That bugs me. You're more concerned about being an analyst now than you are the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Yeah, but dude, when you're a head coach, who gives a shit about what's going on with my neighbor? I got enough to do here. Doesn't Sean Payton have enough work to do? Jesus, criminy guy, get your shit together. Either you want to be an analyst for Fox or you want to be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. So are you doing what Parcells did in Miami? Are you stealing money in Denver? Dude, makes me feel he's not all in. Makes me feel that dude's not all in. All right, let's get to the Eagle topics. I'm going to look at the Patriots a little more. And we're going to start game planning that week one game because I think that week one game is going to be tougher than you think. But I'm also going to do this. I want to ask you guys an opinion here. Who are the 9 and rank them? The 9 most important players for the Philadelphia Eagles to get back to the NFC title game. And the reason I said top 9, I'm not going to put Hurts in this conversation. I am not going to put Jalen Hurts in the conversation because we all know you don't have a good quarterback, you can't win a Super Bowl. You just can't. So we know he's the number 1 priority for this team to get back to the NFC title game. I have ranked the top 9. Okay? And there's different notes here next to these 9 guys. We all know Hurts has to duplicate at least what he did a year ago. Okay? Top 9 players I've ranked for the success of the football team. And for these players, they'll have a spotlight on them if they want to get back to the NFC title game. Okay? Here we go. Number 9. I got Terrell Edmonds. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Might be an upgrade. I happen to think after watching numerous game film on Gardner Johnson's overrated. Heck of a player. No, I'll take that back. Heck of an athlete. I think he's going to struggle in Detroit. I think he had a fluke year. I didn't say that 3 months ago, but I watched him. Horrible run fits, lost in coverage. He had a fluky year. I don't think he duplicates it. I think it was a fluke. I don't think he's as good as people think. I think he's overhyped. I think he's overrated. He's surely not a safety. And by the way, if you think about it, one of the reasons why the Saints gave up on him, because he's not a corner. Gardner Johnson was a Gator. He was a corner. And so when they put him in a slot, he was kind of like running around back there without responsibility. So Edmonds might actually be a more technically sound player. And I believe if he plays as good as he possibly can, I think his play is going to be important to the success of the defense this year, especially in the safety area and in the secondary. Okay? Yes. So I think Edmonds' play is important. We talked the last 2 days about Dean. I'm not going to continue to beat the kid up here. But at middle linebacker, he has got not just a dot on his helmet, he's got a bullseye on his helmet. And I'm not going to beat the kid up here for the next 5 minutes. His play will be the most important play of anybody on the defensive side. If he doesn't play well, you will not have a good defense in 2023 because you don't have the depth at linebacker now. And if he doesn't show up and at least get close to the 59 tackles that Edwards has, you're not going to be a very good defense this year. You're just not. Here's Tone. A.J. Brown, 1. Kelsey, 2. Lane, 3. Mulata, 4. Bradbury, 5. Davis, 6. Slay, 7. Dean, 8. And Edmonds, 9. I like that. If Nakobe Dean doesn't play well, and again, I'm not going to sit here and beat him up. We've been talking about him for 2 days now. If he doesn't play well, you will not have a good defense in 2023. You would have been unprepared. If he happens to play well, you may have a good-looking unit that could contend for a top 10 spot. Okay? Dan, you noticed they were splitting reps between Ellis and Morrow? I think that shows Roseman made a mistake with TJ. And now it's trying to use Ellis, who's a similar size. Yeah, because they're small on that side. Morrow and Dean are tiny. They'll get run over by the NFL guards of today. It's a miscalculation. There's no question about it. They should never have let go TJ Edwards. Biggest mistake in the offseason was, again, if you had hired, like I said yesterday, Vic Fangio or an experienced D coordinator, that's one thing. But to have an inexperienced D coordinator and you don't have anybody that's ever played the middle linebacker position on your roster, I don't know how you think that's smart football. You have zero experience at Mike, the most important position on the defense is the Mike linebacker. We'll see, dude. I think you're smaller. I think you're more inexperienced. And I don't think you have very good tacklers on that team, and you didn't. According to Pro Football Focus, the Eagles were one of the worst tackling teams a year ago, and they were the second-ranked defense in the NFL. Now you lose all those guys, your top 5 tacklers, and you think you're better? Have at it. Let's move on. Okay? Let's move on here because I don't want to sit on this kid here because personally, I don't believe it, but that's an opinion. That's an opinion. I don't believe that kid's going to be good enough to be in that Mike linebacker spot. I think he should have started his career as a Sam or a Will, not Mike. And that's going to be a fundamental decision that they made, and they're going to miscalculate here. They always do on linebackers. When's the last linebacker they drafted that was worth a shit? Edwards was a UDFA. He was an undrafted free agent. So they found him. They didn't draft him. When's the last linebacker the Eagles drafted that was worth a shit? Can you name me one? Who, Jeremiah Trotter? That's 100 years ago. That's 100 years ago. Okay? Jordan who? Okay, let me move on to this. And again, what we're doing here is I've ranked the 9 players that I think have to be important to the success of the Eagles in 2023. Okay? Michael Kendricks. Okay? I think you guys, with every name you put up there, tells me all I need to know. You haven't drafted a linebacker in 100 years that's worth a shit. And now you're going to think that you landed on Dean, who's a tiny kid. And you're going to put him at Mike. I don't believe it. But, again, that's an opinion. So I have to give him the benefit here. Good luck to you. We shall see. We'll know immediately in that New England game. We'll know immediately in the New England game. They're going to attack him right away. The Patriots are going to go right at him. And by the way, I think the Patriots have the components to beat you. And I'll explain. Number 7, DeAndre Swift. What's his role going to be? How good is he? How good can he be in that offense? I'm leaning towards him being a factor. I'm leaning towards DeAndre Swift If he is here, I'll make this point to you. If Swift plays 15 ball games, he'll make the Pro Bowl. He's a really talented kid. And the Eagles will be in the NFC title game if he plays 15 games. Because he'll be around 800 yards, 500. And by the way, I'm going to show you somebody better. And he happens to play in New England. Number 6. Dallas Goedert, another guy. How good can Dallas Goedert be? How good can he be? Can he be a Pro Bowl guy? You think he's better than the guy in Baltimore? Will he be better than the guy in Baltimore, San Francisco, Kansas City? Who else has a good tight end? It's probably it. Well, Hunter Henry's not bad in New England. Okay? Vikings, Hawkinson. Yep. How good can this guy be? How good can he be? I think the sky's the limit for him. I do. I think sky's the limit. He's one of my favorite Eagles. The number 5 most important player for the Eagles to get back to the NFC title game. Darius Slay. Now, again, I'm going to give you an opinion on this. I don't see it. I do not believe he's an elite corner. He's not a man cover corner. Plays center field. Had a great game against Justin Jefferson. Sure did. Had a horrific Super Bowl. And I saw an older player at the end of the year last year. Steve says he saw nothing wrong with Slay. Of course you didn't. No, you saw something wrong with Slay. You just don't want to say it. I'll say it for you, Steve. He didn't look very good the last 2 months of the season, including the playoffs and including the Super Bowl. There, I said it for you. Micah goes, not elite, but a good coin. Yeah. That's not $14 million, but hey, okay. It's another conversation. Tone says, if anyone doesn't think Slay fell off towards the end of the season, they're smoking crack. Oh, it's okay. Because, Tone, most Eagle fans don't look beyond the guy getting killed at the end of the year because he's in Kelly Green. But once he's not in Kelly Green and he's in a different uniform somewhere next year, they'll call him a scumbag. So it's all good. Ty goes, Slay shut down Justin Jefferson. Yeah, week 2. After that, he was lost. You do not play man coverage. You are a zone coverage team. Okay? The reason Slay was kicked out of Detroit because he's not a man cover. You play center field. And the reason that secondary looked so good last year was why? Because everyone got home. And you had 70 sacks. You know, it plays both hands. Corners were good. D-line got home. They stopped the run a little bit in the second half of the season. You don't have to believe what I'm telling you. And again, one more time, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I don't sit around blowing sunshine up your asses like everybody else does in Philly. I'll tell you what we saw and where we are. You can fantasize about all your fantasy bullshit all you want. That ain't happening here. That is not happening here, and it never will. Slay had 3 INTs in the 2022 season. 2 of them came in week 2. He had 14 pass deflections, but he got beat much more towards the end. Hey, ran out of gas. Like I said, and like Tone said, ran out of gas. Those are the facts. And then when Mahomes got a hold of him, he kicked his ass. When you start running out of gas, the technique falls apart. And Mahomes ate his ass up. Shit, man. They were targeting him in the Super Bowl. Targeting. I saw Slay today. Let me tell you a little secret here. Yeah, man, we're cool. I was cool with it when they contacted me. Well, here's just, hey, Darius, just a little note to you. They'd have moved you before they would have not hired Patricia. They'd have moved you. I know some people out there, especially people in here, will think, well, they wouldn't have hired Patricia. They'd have moved Slay. They would not have not hired Matt Patricia. He took it. Get this. So just so you know. Hey, Tone, right? This is what they did to Darius Slay this offseason. They made him take a pay cut, and they hired a guy he hated. What do you think they think of him? Are you high if you think they wouldn't have hired him? They made you take a pay cut, and they hired a guy you hated who fired you in Detroit. But you thought he was going to, what, give the Pope's blessing that it's okay to hire him? No, you're right, Keon. That makes sense, right? You took a $3.5 million pay cut and you hired a guy he hated. That's not just talking. Once again, right, Tone? Once again, that's not talking. That's facts. The funny thing is he knows it too because he said, I want what's best for the organization. Of course he does. At the end of the day, we're renting seats here, so the organization will always do what's best for them. Correct. They'd have moved his ass. What's up, Maniac? Oh, by the way, Philly Godfather will be on at 5:30 Eastern. Hey, let me just put this to you. Big Sills got approached about doing a movie today. Okay, I can't give too much up here, bud. Big Sills might be in a movie, like a biker gang movie. That's all I can say. Okay? How you doing? Movie, hey. No? Yes? Hey, wait a minute. Look. Broke-back bikers. Hilarious. Oh, Jackass 2. I should have shut my hole. Hey, Devin, I should have shut my face. I should not have brought. Let me continue here. Broke back bikers. Hey, let me continue here. So they hired a guy, Darius Slay, hated. And they made him take a pay cut. But, hey, is it okay if we hire Matt Patricia? Sure. Because, that's what the organization does. Because you know why? That just shows a lot of class. They would have moved that guy's ass faster than a New York minute. Okay? Faster than a New York minute. By the way, I can't wait to talk about the New York media. It's the New York media that's saying Bill Belichick's on a hot seat. You know why? Because they got their little diapers hurt when Bill said no to the Jets. And they're still holding that against Belichick and the Patriots. They can't get over it. Because that could have been them. Bill didn't want to coach with the Jets and Woody Johnson. And they're still holding that. He's on the hot seat. Really? If Bill Belichick was the head football coach of the New York Jets and he had won 6 titles, do you think they'd be firing him or saying hot seat? No, they got their little panties hurt. Yeah. At the break, check your Twitter DM. Grant Cohn ripped the 49ers in their quarterback situation. That's all right, Grant. I know you watch the show. It's pathetic. Chicken wing Purdy. You're trying to sell me Sam Darnold. Well, he could be the next Geno Smith. my God. Holy shit. Hey, the Eagles must be just sitting there at the NovaCare Center just laughing their ass off at them. All right. So I got Edmonds at 9. Sills, do you look good in leather? I'm not going to answer that because I don't know where you'll go with it, Quan. I'm not going to answer that because God knows what the next response will be. So I'm not going to say anything. No, I look horrible. No, I look horrible. I got Edmonds at 9. These are the most important Eagles for them to get back to the NFC title game in 2023. Edmonds 9, Nakobe Dean 8, DeAndre Swift 7, Goddard 6, Darius Slay 5. The fourth most important Eagle to get back to the NFC title game is Jalen Carter. How good can he be? What impact does he have? Jordan Davis, slimmed up, looks good, stayed away from White Castle a little bit, it looks good and shit. Well, he ain't the talent, that guy. He'll never have the talent of Jalen Carter. You guys want this guy to have 50 tackles. He's never had 50. He didn't have 50 tackles in 4 years at Georgia. Do you know that? He didn't have 50 tackles in 4 years. He had 9 sacks in 4 years and less than 50 tackles at Georgia. And you think he's going to put up 6 sacks and 50 tackles in 2022? He's never done that in his entire life. But miraculously, he's going to. Okay? He is a non-productive guy. He's a great athlete. He's big. But he doesn't produce numbers. Never has. So I think he would be in a good mod. I was supposed to be in The Sopranos. I told the story before. I'll tell it a little bit later. I think Jalen Carter, man, he's got to be around what Javon Hargrave did. And when Tone put those numbers up of what Javon Hargrave did last year, 10 tackles for loss, 16 hits on the quarterback, 11 sacks, Jalen Carter's got to kind of get close to that. I'm not saying that this kid's going to roll in there and get 11 sacks, but he's got to be kind of in the room. 7, 40, 50 tackles. He's got to be an impact because you're not going to get any kind of numbers out of Davis. Just because the car looks good don't mean it runs well. I mean, I don't give a shit what weight he lost. I don't care how he looks. Go make some plays. But don't you think that has? I don't know what it has. Go make some freaking plays. If that's 700 pounds overweight or 200 pounds underweight, I don't give a shit. Go make plays, kid. Judging a player by how he looks is stupid. Stupid. No wonder Brady went in the 6th round. Because you judged him how he looked. Go make plays. Go make plays. Guy ran a 4.78 and he looks all lean. Go make some plays, son. Give a shit how you look. You could be a model. Go make some football plays. Get in the backfield. Be a disruptive guy. Put up some sacks that you never have in your life. Do that. Sill's talking like Jordan Davis has been in the league for 4 years. No, I'm talking about who the guy's been for the last 8 years. He's never made plays. Look at his college numbers. Look at his first year. No sacks, 19 tackles. I don't know. Shit, I had 1 sack, 22 tackles my rookie year. And I sucked. I sucked. Number 3, most important, Eagles. For them to get back to the NFC title game. I put them in a combo, Tone, everyone. I put them in a combo. I got AJ and Devontae. 1,000-yard duo. Hard workers. Good football players. Good teammates. They help one another. They help the room. The quarterback likes them. That's a good group. That's a good-looking group of wide receivers that really don't open their pie holes and go to work. I love when I saw, too, Devontae, when he got out there on the field today. I love the fact that he got down on a knee and thanked God for all the things that he has and all the things he's doing. That's a man that's humble. When you're a man of God like that, you're humble and you're thankful that you have people around you and things that how hard you work. You're constantly humbled and you're constantly thanking people and God for what you have. I love that. I'm sorry, but if people don't like that, I do. I think if you can humble yourself before God, the penitent man always goes and sees the strength, in my opinion, and will always have internal strength. So I love the fact, okay? I love the fact that he gives his thanks to God. Number 2, Hassan Reddick, baby. Watch this. Hey, Tone, I don't usually do this. Okay? Yes. Hassan, I had to eat crow last year. Yes. Just massive production. He is an impact guy. Number 1 in third down sacks, caused fumbles, 16, beat the piss out of that 49er guy. I mean, I'm not going to go into any kind of deficiencies because here's why. His deficiencies do not outweigh his production. This guy is a highlight reel. He is an absolute highlight reel. I mean, if you put a running back or tight end on him, I'm going to make a point to you. And maybe you guys will disagree with me. You think he's the best pass rusher you've had since Reggie on the perimeter? I know Cole was a good is he better than Cole? Trent Cole? You think he's better than Trent Cole? Man, I don't remember Trent Cole making such impact plays like that. I mean, Trent was a good football player. He was good. He was a good football player, especially where you got him in the draft. But was Trent Cole better than Hassan Reddick? Was he better? Yeah, that's right. Richard says this, Sills, you count up all the games in the postseason and regular season, this guy almost had 20 sacks with a slow start getting out of the gate. Nick, I think Hugh's good too, man. Hugh Douglas too. Yes. Yeah, Hugh. But there's something about Reddick with this cause fumbles, third down sacks when you need them and you need to get your defense off the field. Okay? JM. Okay, JM, I'll ask you. Do you think that Trent Cole was better? Just because he's the all-time sack leader means he's played here longer. I'm asking you, do you think that that guy is more of a weapon at the pass rush than what Trent Cole was? Trent, and I said it, Trent's a fabulous football player. Fabulous player, man. Fabulous. I'm talking, but I'm talking what you have now. I'm not talking all time. Oh, I am, I guess, talking all time. But I'll help at this. Let me quantify it then. I'm talking skill set wise, not length of career. When you look, who would you, okay, well, let me ask you this. In a football game of 60 minutes, and I'm going to take Reggie out of the conversation, would you rather have Trent Cole or Hugh Douglas or Hassan Reddick rush the passer in a 60-minute football game you had to win? Who would you take? Who would you take? I'm leaving Reggie out. That's not fair. Because I'm taking Reggie pretty much over everybody. And the debate with Taylor and him, flip a coin, I'll take the guy you don't want. And I'm good with it. You know what I mean? It's that close with Taylor and Reggie. If I lost that bet, I'm all right with who you give me. So if you had to win a 60-minute football game in their prime, Trent Cole, Hugh Douglas, or Hassan Reddick, who would you take? Jay says Hassan. Cole. Ty says Trent. Big Seals, I hear they seasoned Purdy's arm up. Carrots and onions. Well, they won't be serving that at Lincoln Financial. You don't serve salads at Lincoln Financial, my friend. You serve beer and brats. That's only for San Francisco. White wine spritzers and like little wiener dogs on toothpicks. You know? Cheese and shit. If a guy ever came over to me and said, "Sills, you want a wiener dog and cheese and a white wine spritzer?" I'd be like, get the fucking... Trent was better with the run, but Hassan is more lethal. Man, he is a weapon, dude. He's a weapon. Peppers and onions. There you go, Quan. Hey, Mr. Sileo, would you like to have a Napa, or would you rather have a Chandon? What? Do you speak English? Are we at a soccer game? I would think I was at a soccer game if I went to a Niner game. Mr. Sileo, are you from America? Yes, sir. We have white wine spritzers and lemon balls and wine. I'm at a football game, dude. Get away from me before I beat you up. Hey. Yeah. White people food. Big Sills, man. Yeah, that's what I look like. Yeah, I got the map of Sicily on me. Okay. And here is the number one player you can't lose if you want to get back to the NFC title game. Are you ready? Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson. Okay? Lane Johnson. Everyone, listen to this. So when Lane Johnson, since 2013, has been in a Philadelphia Eagle football uniform and ready to play, your win percentage is .626. You're 79-47-1. And when Lane's not in the starting lineup, you're 13-22 for a .371 win percentage. This guy doesn't touch the ball. He doesn't throw the ball. He doesn't catch, and he doesn't run with it. And if this guy's not on the field, you ain't winning. You ain't winning. Did you hear those numbers? Dude, that's one of the most impressive things I've seen. So when Lane Johnson, since 2013, suited up for the Eagles, you're 79-47-1, .626 win percentage. And when he's not healthy, you're 13-22. Okay. Well, we know this. That guy's just as important as any player on that football field. And if he ain't on that field, you ain't winning. Holy shit. I don't think you can lose any one of these guys. If you had to lose somebody, look, because I don't think the depth is at corner. You can't lose Slay. Slay's got to play well. If you lose Swift, you got a bunch of trash cans for running backs. Dean's got to play. Here, so again, we'll recap here. I think Edmonds has to play well at safety. Dean's got to play well. He's got to play well. I don't – hey, wait a minute. Do I think Edmonds will be an upgraded Gardner Johnson. I do. Do I think, this is an opinion now, do I think Jacoby Dean fills the role of being a middle linebacker and covers the TJ Edwards loss? No, I do not. He's not good enough. He's not better than TJ Edwards. But we'll see. And what you have on your side is he's never done it. Well, that's a good thing. Okay? It is. But let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you one thing, though. And for all of you guys who are throwing all this love here at Jacoby Dean, don't you think, knowing full well when last year was playing itself out and they knew they weren't going to give TJ Edwards $7 million in the offseason, don't you think they would have tried to put him in more situations to get him ready for the upcoming season? Why would they go so blind into it like that and then just say, oh, well, he can replace him without even giving the guy? Usually, don't you try to get your replacement some reps? They didn't even do that. They didn't even play him to try to get him in on Kaiser White. Don't you find that odd? That they would just go, okay, we're going to plug and play with him. So you're going to replace 160 tackles basically cold. At least Davis got some reps reps. Jordan Davis got some reps last year, right? He got some reps. Even the backup tight end got reps. Even Jordan or Cam Jurgens got some reps. This guy got a limited number of reps. I don't know. Especially when you knew you were going to lose him, TJ Edwards. Trying to win a Super Bowl? So you didn't think he was good enough? So Jacoby Dean wasn't good enough to step on the field last year for the Eagles. So that means you must have a lesser unit this year. That's what he's saying. You're trying to win a Super Bowl. Okay, so you're not going to put your best players on the field? He must not have been one of them. Oh, but he is now. Is that what you're saying, Ken? He wasn't good enough to play last year. You got a lesser football team on that side of the ball this year. So I guess now because there's lesser talent there, you're admitting that TJ was a better talent if you say that. When Jacoby Dean was given reps at the end of the season, he made plays that Titans game. I don't remember. Sorry, not very much impact. Sills is reaching on what? You really believe, again, you think that he's better than TJ Edwards. I don't believe it. But again, that's an opinion. DeAndre Swift, I think he's got to have an 800, 500, 50 catch season to cover the number of 1,311 that was left. Dallas Goedert, do I think he'll? Yeah, I do. I think he's going in the right direction. I do. Name goes, you were wrong about Reddick. Yeah. Yeah, because here's why I was wrong, Name, about Reddick. Have you ever seen a guy on 3 different ball teams with double-digit sacks? Have you ever seen that? 3 different teams, Arizona, Carolina, and Philadelphia. Have you ever seen that? Most of the time, it's what's wrong with the player. So Arizona gave up on him. Panthers gave up on him. And the Eagles found out how to use him correctly. So it was on those other 2 organizations that they failed in using him correctly. He changed the narrative of himself by coming to Philly for a 3rd time in a row in 3 years and putting double-digit sacks up. And now what he did was he reversed it and put it on Arizona and the Panthers for not using him right. Yeah, you're right. It was the player who changed the narrative. Absolutely. Actually, Quan, it's Chicago. I think Slay's out of gas. We'll see. It's an opinion. Jalen Carter, I think the ceiling is so high for him. AJ and Devontae are maybe the best professional duo of NFL teammates and players in the league. Love these guys, especially together. Reddick's a weapon now. And Lane Johnson's your most important non-quarterback player on your team. The record dictates it. 626 win percentage, 79 wins, 47 losses. And you're 13-22 when he's not in a Philadelphia Eagle helmet. I think that is all you need to know when you're talking about the importance of Lane Johnson. All right. We're going to start out in hour number 2. We're going to talk about the Patriots. I do not think you're killing them. I do not. I don't think you have the defense to kill them. And I'm going to explain. Philly Godfather will join me at 5:30 Eastern time. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Google TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
For the big story on Action News,
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again?
You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I saw that Grant Cohn rant he had about the 49er quarterbacks. They suck. Where is this quarterback guru, Kyle Shanahan? He's so overrated, it's disgusting. He is the most overrated coach in the National Football League. Completely overrated. Completely overrated. He's got Marcus Mariota is a better quarterback than anything they have under contract with the Niners. Trey Lance fumbled the first snap, and he's not in pads. What an absolute disgusting train wreck. You want to hear something else? How about this little nugget for you? Do you know if somehow they had beaten the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC title game, do you know who was starting in the Super Bowl for the Niners versus Mahomes? Do you know who? Phillip Rivers. They had contacted Phillip Rivers, or no, they were going to, according to Kyle Shanahan. According to Kyle Shanahan, who did a show about a day ago or yesterday, they were going to call Phillip Rivers to quarterback the 49ers against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl because the 49ers have dog shit in their quarterback room. Seriously, the Eagles' second-team quarterback could start in San Francisco. Darian goes, Seals, can you tell the Soprano story before I log off? I'll do it right now for you. So Greg Schiano was the head football coach. He is again now at Rutgers, right? He's a dear friend of mine. He coached at the University of Miami. And James Gandolfini used to do promos for Rutgers football. And I told him I wanted to know James Gandolfini. So what he did was he got him on my radio show when I was in Tampa. And so James Gandolfini came on my show when I was in Tampa. And I go, hey, if you can put Tony Saragusa on, why can't you put me on? And so it all got through. And David Chase, I had a conversation with David Chase. And if they had another year of The Sopranos, I was going to be in an episode, kind of probably just as a stand-in guy. But I had talked to David Chase, the guy who created The Sopranos, so I was going to go on it. Yeah, Gandolfini was a good dude, man. Came on my program. I had a cell phone. Anytime I needed him, he would come on because he always wanted to promote Rutgers football. He loved Rutgers football. So, yeah, one more year they had, and I would have been on The Sopranos. How you doing? All right. What else did I write down here? Hey, did you see Bijan Robinson, man? Holy shit, is this guy a stud? Holy cow. You see that guy doing shake and bake, one-handed cat? Oh, my God, is he going to tear the league up? He's going to be the offensive rookie of the year in the NFL. Woo! Now, that's what I'm talking about. Well, we don't want to have a running back here in Philly. I'd rather have 5 trash cans. Well, 4. I'd rather have 4 trash cans and a good player. Did you see Bijan? Man, he was great looking today. Well, you know, if I get Paulie Spitzer Shore, Elliot Spitzer guy telling me how good Jalen is and how much it shells, why can't I look at Bijan and give him the same Elliot Spitzer, Paulie Shore love? I give Bijan an A+. There you go, Tone. If that was Elliot Spitzer Shore, man, that's an A+ for Bijan in Falcons camp. Man. 4 trash cans and DeAndre Swift. Okay? Going places. Oh, real quick before I get to the Patriots here. The week 1 opponent you may lose to. If I'm Joe Burrow, yeah, it's Mike Brown there. I'm not practicing ever again until my contract's signed. You're welcome. If I were him and his agent, I would never step on a football field ever again until I get my deal done. I'm not doing that. You're lucky it's a calf strain. Okay, he'll be out a couple weeks. You're lucky it's a calf strain, and it's not anything severe in the knee. But if that's me, why would you get on a football field when you know how these owners are, especially Zipper Wallet Mike Brown? Why would you get on a football field if you're Joe Burrow? What, because you're a good teammate? Screw that. You give me my $270 million, I'll get on the field. Don't treat those owners with any kind of, well, I'm going to go out there and do it for old team spirit, locker room love, all that bullshit you guys think exists. Players in the NFL know how owners are. Nobody begrudges anybody, especially when we're talking about your wallet, because you got to deal with assholes that are owners, and you have to treat them like assholes because they're going to treat you like one. Hence Jim Irsay. Remember that. I wasn't talking to my running back, but I was talking to all the other 31 running backs in the league. What a dope. What a dope. No, not my guy. Of course, not your guy. No, you were directly talking to Jonathan Taylor. How dopey can you be? Right? It's total stupid. Ugh. Not my guy. All right. Hey, for craps and giggles here, what do you think that score week 1 will be against New England Patriots? What's your score? $38-3. You think you have a defense good enough to stop any team in the NFL right now to 3 points? 30-23. Somebody with some common sense. 30-17. You think you have enough defense to stop a team and only give up 17 points? Your defense ain't ready. Your defense week 1 is going to surrender 20 or more points. I'm not moving on. 28-17? Yeah, because they have Mac Jones. Okay, well, let's look at who the Patriots are. I really don't know what the expectations are for New England. I don't. But I will say this to you. And that stupid shit about Belichick being on the hot seat is such a lie. It's all of you jealous people who hate the fact that the Patriots kicked your asses. And I don't mean the Eagles, because you got him and you got yourself a gold slipper. You got yourself one versus him and Brady. So kudos to you. But I'm talking about all the other loser football fans who hate the Patriots because you're jealous of what they accomplished for 20 years. Too bad. You can cry, you can bitch, you can accuse, they kicked your freaking ass for 3 decades. End of story. It's the greatest dynasty in the history of the National Football League. History. 104 years. History. It's the greatest dynasty, including the Steeler dynasty, 4 and 6. Cheaters, whatever. That's an excuse. Not cheaters. Stupid to think that. You really think it would have mattered if they gave you their entire playbook that you could have stopped Tom Brady? You're out of your mind. You're out of your minds. Who wins more games this year, Falcons or Eagles? Eagles. Eagles. You're back to hating the clicks. I was talking about Bijan Robinson, not the Falcons. So you tied the Falcons and me liking what Bijan looked like today into them winning 12 games? That wasn't even my conversation. Again, that's what people do. They take what I say sometimes and make a story that I never even said. Okay? They just make things up. So let me finish here. Belichick's on no hot seat. It's all the people crying around the league because he kicked your ass for 3 decades. And all you now are moaning, and all now you get a great chance to get a shot back at him. He's the greatest coach in the history of the league. The Patriots do not have him on the hot seat. Bill's going to be able to call his putt, and that's the end of the story. You don't have a coach in your coaching staff, including Jeff Stoutland, that's in Bill Belichick's conversation. It's not close. Accomplishment-wise, coordinator-wise, position coach-wise, Bill is the greatest D coordinator of all time, along with the greatest head coach of all time. And he coached the 2 greatest players in the history of the sport, LT and Brady. I don't know what else to tell you. And he's got more Super Bowl rings than any coach in history. End of story. End of story. You could debate your stupid-ass little crying off-ramp. He did it with Brady. He gets credit for drafting Brady, too. It's all dumb. Stop it. Wipe your tears away. Wipe your tears away. He kicked the shit out of Manning. He kicked the shit out of Roethlisberger. He kicked the shit out of everybody. For 3 decades. Wipe your tears away all you want. This guy gave you an enema every time he played against you. Like you'd have to go see your proctologist when you were done after being in a Patriot game. And that first game of the year, we're going to get a good sample of it. And I'm going to tell you why here. They bring back a great defense and they'll be better. The majority of their draft picks, including this kid, Christian Gonzalez, who was the best corner, 6'2", they are small back there, is going to bring some depth, and he's also going to bring some talent to the secondary. They're already a great unit. That's a great unit that's going to be a test, in my opinion, for the first week of the Eagles. I think it's going to be a test. And then you turn this on. Don't sleep on Ramondre Stevenson. He's better than anything you have on your football team. Better than anything. 1,400 total yards last year, 1,000 yards rushing. This kid had 70 catches. Who's covering him on your team out of the backfield? Jacoby Dean? Lunch is served. You think Jacoby Dean, this kid has a shot this year. He was the best player. This kid Stevenson was the best player on that offense last year in a bad offense. I think he could get 2,000 total yards this year. That's how good that kid is. Who's covering him? Jacoby Dean? They're going to put this kid on Dean. Dean's going to have his shit kicked in week 1. He can't cover him. This guy had 421 yards receiving, too. 1,000 yards rushing. 70 catches. This is what you're hoping for in DeAndre Swift. He's better than Swift. He's a better ball player than Swift. Who covers him? Quan, who covers him? Who, Morrow? Who covers him? Give me a player on your team and your linebacker. I'm crazy. Who covers him? Yale, it's not negative. Who covers him? And I'll go, you're right. Ty goes, Stevenson is not better than Swift. Swift has never had a year like this kid Stevenson in his entire time in Detroit. It's because you never heard of him. Doesn't mean he's not better. Blankenship is going to cover him. Who covers Hunter Henry? Let's see what Henry had last year. He may have been injured. He was a pretty good tight end when he was with the Chargers. Let's see. Now you got Bill O'Brien in the building, too. Hunter Henry stats. Let's see here. I think he got injured a year ago. No, he played in 14 ball games. He started 14, played in 17, had 500 yards and 60 catches. So you got 41 catches, excuse me, on a year where the quarterback play was terrible in New England. 12 yards a catch. You guys struggled covering a tight end with the New York Giants last year. Who covers these people that you guys are playing against? And by the way, so you got Bill O'Brien back in the building, and you got Belichick on the defensive side, and you got Sean Desai and Brian Johnson. Interesting. The Eagles are better. They're just not better coached. They're just not better coached. Hunter Henry's a bum. So is Morrow a bum. The Bears fired him. The Eagles gave him no signing bonus money. They know they have a problem now at the NovaCare Center. They're trying to put this kid, Christian somebody, in there, Ellis now. They know they have a problem. I guarantee you, before the start of the season, the regular season, Howie would have made a move for a linebacker, an experienced linebacker, to play on that. You don't have enough guys right now. So, out of curiosity, what do you need to see from Nick for you to consider him one of the better coaches in the NFL? Well, it's hard to put a manager of a team as one of the better coaches in the NFL. And what I mean by that is, how many people looked at Jimmy Johnson when he ran the Dallas Cowboys and said, Jimmy was one of the best coaches in the history of the National Football League because of what skill set? Do you know what Jimmy's skill set was? He was in complete control of hiring coaches and complete control of the personnel on the team. Jimmy was not a coach. He had no influence on play calling. He had no influence on the defense. He had no influence on any of that. So he had a role, hiring the best assistant coaches he could hire, and he had complete control of the personnel. Everything that went through Dallas during that time went through Jimmy Johnson, not Jerry Jones. That's why they don't have the same success. Because if that was the case, they'd be duplicating what they did in the early reign of the Cowboys under Jerry Jones. They can't duplicate it. Why? Bob Eccles is not in the room, who worked with Jimmy. It was kind of like his gopher guy. Okay? All the personnel decisions went. How do you think they got Charles Haley there? They got Charles Haley there because Jimmy pulled the trigger. But he had a role. Nick's role is keeping things running smooth. I'm not saying that that's not important. But what's his role? Okay? Is he a play caller? Does he have influence on the offense? Probably some. But when Nick had complete control of the offense, he was 2-5. Okay? But if Nick keeps winning games, there has to be some value. What was their value with Doug Peterson when they fired him? So the Eagles fired 2 coaches out of 3 coaches. One coach went to 5 NFC title games, and another guy won a Super Bowl, and you blew him out. What was their value? They replaced him. And they continued Unlike Dallas. Think about it, Tone. The Eagles since 2000 have continued success with their current way of doing business. The Cowboys were under one way of doing business when they won all those games, and they've never had the success again. That means something's changed. The owner's not responsible for the Cowboys winning. The Cowboys owner is responsible for the Cowboys losing big games. So what's the value? You've never been able to replace Jimmy Johnson because you know why? Your organization doesn't have the culture the Eagles do. It doesn't matter if Andy Reid's in there, Chip Kelly's in there, or Doug Peterson or Nick Sirianni's in there. They win because they've won the way they do things. There's a culture in how they go about their business, how they look at players, how they draft players, how they hire coaches, how they look at quarterbacks. Everything has happened the same way pretty much with some modifications since 2000. That's not the case in numerous places. That's why you could sustain coordinators losing or firing of a head coach. Doesn't matter really. You have a way of doing business. Nick's not any more important than what Andy was to the Eagles. Don't you see this? Holy shit, man. It's got to be evident to you. What's the value of Eric Bieniemy in Kansas City, you think? What was it? There's got to be value if Kansas City's winning Super Bowls and Bieniemy's the coordinator there. What was his value in Kansas City? I don't know. What was his value? Did Eric Bieniemy have a value in Kansas City? Yes or no? Well, are we under some sort of notion now that Matt Nagy being the offensive coordinator in Kansas City, that KC's going to fall off? Where would you think that? So when you say that about Sirianni and you go like this, his value is this. What's Eric Bieniemy's value? We won't know until this season passes if we are being fair. My problem with Eric Bieniemy going to D.C., what impact is he going to have on that Commander's offense? I sure hope it looks good for him. Dude, they could replace Nick Sirianni any day, any night, and it won't matter. It won't matter. Nick didn't hire these coaches. Nick didn't pick these players. Nick didn't draft Jalen. It had nothing to do with him. They took the coordinator responsibilities away from Nick Sirianni to help him. You think Nick just gave it up? So you think Mike McCarthy, to get the Dallas Cowboy job when he initially got to Dallas, one of the parameters probably was, hey, you want the Cowboy job? Kellen Moore's our OC. Dak feels comfortable with Kellen Moore. You can either take the job or not. I'll take it. And that's how he got the job. Kellen Moore was already in the building. That was a Jerry Jones decision. Okay? It was a Jerry Jones decision. And I'll give you a little bit of insight on Shane Steichen. Well, when Howie Roseman contacted Frank Reich, when he was the head coach of the Colts, and asked for some advice, hey, you think Steichen can handle the RPO? He goes, yeah. He did a really great job with Jacoby Brissett when Brissett was in Indianapolis. Yes. He's more that. You see, Nick is more of a Phillip Rivers guy. Nick worked great with Phillip Rivers. When Phillip Rivers was in Indianapolis, the offensive coordinator was who? It was Nick Sirianni. Nick Sirianni was the offensive coordinator for that style of play. Okay? There's a 50-50 chance you're wrong. There's a 50 chance you're right. We'll find out. Knicks maintain success despite losing Steichen. Steichen's not the guy that you care about. And both those guys, as far as I'm concerned. Again, remember something here to go to tone. So here was Jonathan Gannon's way of fixing the Eagle defense last year. Hey, Howie, I need 2 new tackles. Here was Dan Quinn's way of fixing the Cowboy run defense when Mike Nolan was there previously. He schematically changed it. And when Dexter Lawrence got hurt, or what's his name, the defensive end for the Cowboys, ended up getting hurt, they fell into Micah Parsons putting his hand down in the dirt. They fell into that. They didn't realize he was that good a pass rusher. And all of a sudden, when he saw what he had, that he could put him in a 3-point stance or a 2-point stance, then he came up with more cosmetic looks and more ways of using Micah Parsons. I always thought dropping him in coverage hurts him. There's some guys that are really great and some guys that are just, hey, we're going to wait for you to make mistakes. That's what the umbrella defense is. They ran an umbrella defense in Philadelphia last year. That's why when you ran into those great quarterbacks with those open zones in the middle of the field with linebackers who couldn't cover even a year ago, they ate your lunch. And they have for 2 years. Every quarterback that you've played against that's worth a shit has a high percentage completion for a reason. The zones are wide open. Dak, I keep telling you, last year had his worst year. He had his greatest game in his career almost. 5 touchdowns, 80% completion percentage. Shit, man, he ate the Eagle number 2 defense up. You make it sound like DeMarcus Lawrence, thank you. Okay? Those zone defense, you're going to see a lot of that again. Because you don't have – do you guys understand why James Bradbury, besides the money, was let go in – and I think New York made a mistake letting Bradbury go. They didn't think he was a cover corner in a man coverage. Same with Slay. So what they did was they dropped these 2 guys back in zones. They're zone cover corners. They are not man cover corners. They show you that every game. They're going to wait for you. Because, look, last year, besides Aaron Rodgers, okay, and maybe Trevor Lawrence early, you got a young player. Most of those quarterbacks that you played against last year, they're going to make mistakes against you. Here we go. Joe Burrow update, finally. Joe Burrow will be out several weeks with a right calf strain. Zach Taylor can't give an exact timetable. That probably comes up to, I would say, I think it'll be sketchy if he makes the opener. I think he may be ready by week 3. Okay, at least it's not serious, right? But I wouldn't step on a football field until my contract was done. Let me wrap up here with the Patriots. I like tone score. 30-23, 30-25, something like that. I could see that's kind of what that is. 30-21, 30-25, 30-20. It's going to be in that conversation right there. You're not going to put up a ton of points on that defense. And they're going to run the ball right down your throat. Because they got the back to do it. They have the offensive line to do it. They don't have to have a 300-yard passing game to beat the Eagles. They can have 14-play drives against a defense that's not ready to play yet and won't be ready in week 1. It's not your offense. Your offense will be probably ready to roll. Your defense take at least 8 weeks. And Belichick is going to run the ball right down your throat. Like every team has the last 2 years. And they got the back to do it. And they got the offensive line to do it. That's why, if you think you're here, and you know what you'll say? Well, here's what you do. Okay, well, they want to get in a 14-play drive with you, New England, and they want to make it a fourth quarter football game. Tone goes like this: Bengals open with the Browns. No Burrow, loss. Ravens, loss. Rams, win. Titans, win. If they can get out of those first 4 games 2-2, it might be Cardinals 3. That'd be 3-2. They'll lose that if he loses 1-2. If he's lost for those first 6 games, they could be. They'll lose the Browns. They'll lose the Ravens. They'll win the Rams. They'll win the Titans. They'll win the Cardinals. 3-3. They won't have home field advantage. They won't be in the home field advantage argument, but they'll be in the playoff conversation if Burrow comes back and he's able to play. I'd say he misses those 6 weeks. Man, that would be devastating. No, still, he's not lost for the season. Okay? He's not lost for the season. Quan goes, Mac Jones. You lost to Tyler Heineke, dude. I'd be careful before you start talking about Mac. Beat Tyler Heineke and Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, the previous year, beat you too. Beat Hurts. He's got to win against Hurts. You know that? Okay? Hey, Quan, you lost to Tyler Heineke. They have see what JM says? They have an awful offense. Well, they have an awful scoring offense. You don't have a back in the room with him. Got tomato cans. Again, I like Swift, though. Oh, and Andy Dalton. You lost to Andy Dalton. And Andy Dalton. Damn. Andy Dalton, Tyler Heineke, you lost to. So here are the quarterbacks you lost to last year. Patrick Mahomes, okay, sure. Okay. Tyler Heineke and Andy Dalton. I don't know. You mean to tell me you couldn't beat Andy Dalton and Tyler Heineke? It's pretty funny, actually, if you think about it. Go get him, baby. Yeah, I can't wait to see game 1, baby. Yes, sir. Judah was ranked 3rd in sacks. They have a great defense. Offense was all over the joint last year because of that stupidity of a move by Belichick with the coordinator stuff and all that shit. Now they got a real coordinator in the room that's won a Super Bowl. A couple of them, actually. And plus, he was his quarterback coach at Alabama, where they won a national title. So, yeah. I really like him a lot, too. Judah was ranked 3rd in sacks, and they're saying the Patriots have no pass rush. They're high. The other – hey, Tone, I think the other kid on the other side also had double digits, didn't he? I thought they had 2 guys with double-digit sacks. I thought there was another guy on the other side, too, that was a pretty good sack guy. They got a pretty good-looking group. And, again, they're a little bit light and short, I think, in the secondary. But getting this kid, Christian Gonzalez. Patriots have an awful offense. What's your defense? You have awful linebackers. No, I can't do that. I don't know. I'm going to go with what Tone says. Before I even read Tone, we'll see what N'Kobe does. He's not awful. I'm taking that back. He's not awful. Okay, we got to wait and see. Judah, 15.5 sacks. That kid, UCHE, 11.5. Wise Jr., 7.5. Damn. They got some pass rushers. Yes, sir, baby. They're going to line a guy up right over Cam Jurgens. How you doing? That's a great-looking pass rush. Yes, sir. Look at this. Juju's afraid? Afraid of what? He kicked your ass in the Super Bowl. 6 forced fumbles between them. 30-23? Did you say that, Tone? Tone, did you say 30-23? I'm with you. That's what that game looks like. That's what that game looks like. Yeah. Better get that defense ready, baby. Man, it's going to be a fun season. Man, I can't wait because that defense is like a green apple on a tree. Also had 30 tackles for losses between them as well. They just needed some offense, and they couldn't get it. They just couldn't get it going on, man. Eagles 31, Patriots 30. You ain't scoring 30 points like that against them. You ain't scoring 30 points against the Patriots. You 30-23. Yeah, I'll give you 30. I'll give you 30. I'll give you 30. I'm with Tone. I like the 30-23. Fans don't respect. Hey, Tone, you think Eagle fans respect Brady night? No. 38-14. So you think you're going to hold with that defense, an NFL offense with no linebackers to 14 points? Dude, you don't have the same group you did a year ago. Oh, baby. Oh. Please, let's get to September. Yes, sir. Let me say this to you. How many games do you think Nakobe Dean starts this year for the Eagles? Let me write it down. Patriots defense is good. Fans better stop playing. Yale goes hopefully 17. $20 games for Dean. Senor. That's good. Good for you. Sil said yesterday you mentioned Desai as a watchdog with Patricia. What was Vic to Jonathan Gannon? He was going to be the replacement, John. Did you not hear what he said and what they were doing? He was going to take the defensive coordinator's job in Philadelphia if it wasn't for the fiasco that went on with Gannon and the tampering, and that's how he ended up in Miami. Those were his words. And Fangio was being brought in because Gannon was going to get an NFL job. You know how we know that? Frank Wright was offered the offensive coordinator's job before he got the Panther job. And you know where we heard that? Right here. Frank came on and said it, that the Eagles had offered him the offensive coordinating job. Week later, Carolina hired him. They already knew that Shane Steichen was out too. The coordinators were supposed to be, if Frank doesn't get the Carolina job, Frank Reich and Vic Fangio. Those were your coordinators for 2023. Instead, you got training wheel guys. Tell me I'm wrong. Fangio even said he was going to take the Eagle job. Seals, how many games does Dean play? I don't want to be unfair. I shouldn't ask that question. I want him to get a full opportunity to play. So I'm not going to answer that because it'd be a bullshit comment. And I don't want to just throw a bullshit comment out like that. So I'm not going to do it. I want him to have every opportunity to become the starting middle linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not going to start by just saying negative shit about a guy just because I want to have a narrative look like I'm right here. I don't want to do that because that's not right, and I hate people who do that. And okay, Chris, and I jinx the kid, this and that. Sure, I'm not going to talk shit on someone just to talk shit on someone. That's not cool. So I'm going to take that question back. Okay, I'm going to, because it's not fair. And you know what? I'm more down on Jordan Davis than I am Nakobe. I'm being productive. So I can't, it's not fair. And for me just to sit here, start barking at somebody, why would I do that? What, to get clicks? That's clickbait shit. So I'm not doing that. I'd rather not. Okay? I'd rather not. Jesse goes, Sills, who's left at the linebacker to trade for? Glad you bring that up, Jess. Okay. Well, hey, Tone, can you do me a favor? Tell me who the first 6 games are for the Bucs. Who the first 6 games for the Buccaneers? I'm not talking about Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett is a non-factor on the Philadelphia Eagle defense. He's a non-factor. Yeah, Loki, I'm not just going to, just so I can hear myself talk like many people on the air. I'm not going to talk shit on the Kobe Dean. I'm just not going to do it. Let's give the kid a chance. Shaq Barrett. 1 through 6. That's a good question. Because I think you can probably make this transition this way. Follow me here in how you could maybe get a linebacker. Vikings. Do you think the Buccaneers beat the Vikings? I don't. That's 0-1. You think they beat the Bears? That's 1-1. You think they beat the Eagles? Absolutely not. That's 1-2. You think they beat the Saints? I do not. That's 1-3. Do you think they beat the Lions? I do not. That's 1-4. Do you think they beat the Falcons? Let's just say yes. You're 2-4. Now the question is this: in the NFC South, where's that put you? Are you still in reach of potentially winning the NFC South at 2-4? And would you give up Devin White if you're the Eagles? Or if you're the Buccaneers, knowing full well you've got to resign him in the offseason. Plus, Howie has, $13 million in cap money right now? And by that time, week 6, you're going to know if Dean's the guy or not. If the Kobe Dean's the guy, you're not going to look, because to me, I think the Buccaneers will start unloading players like Mike Evans. I don't believe they'll let loose of the left tackle, but I think they'll let loose of some people on that defense. Shaq Barrett, maybe? Okay. Week 7, Bills, Texans. Okay, so let's just go further there. The Bills, they're losing that, so you're 2-5. The Texans, you're winning that, I'm assuming. You're 3-5. The Titans, you're probably losing that. You're 3-6. And the 49ers, you're 3-7 with 10 games. I would think you start dumping, because why? You're in salary cap hell. You need draft picks to retool the team. You've gave up a lot of commodity to get Brady down there. You put up a lot of money, and now you got to retool. You're going nowhere, really. You got Baker Mayfield. You really think Baker? And for me, if I'm the Bucs, I want to get into that draft pool next year where I could maybe get a quarterback. One of those 5 kids or 4 kids that they have. So do you go after a guy like White? You got $13 million. And if you get him, get this, even on a 1-year contract. Even on a 1-year contract. Right? You get him, you trade him. at the end of the year. Draft day, trade something, I don't know, because you don't want to pay him. You don't just let him walk out the building on March 17th. Maybe you move him for some draft picks, third rounders. I don't know. But if you put a guy for, hey, would it be worth this to you? Would it be worth this? Think about this, Tone. If you call the Buccaneers up and the Buccaneers go, what are you giving us? Would you give up next year, if you win the Super Bowl, the 31st pick or the 32nd pick in the draft for Devin White that could put you over the top to win a Super Bowl? Would you give up the 32nd pick if you only had him for 10 games and the playoffs, and then he traded him before March 17th? And he played great. You might get another one for him. Would you do it? Because the linebackers you have right now are not good enough to win a Super Bowl. They're not good enough. That kid, you put Devin White on your football team, it's a game changer. You wouldn't put a game changer on your defense for a first round to win a Super Bowl and stop Mahomes. Well, you'd rather play and limp along with Jacoby and not put a game-changing captain of a Super Bowl champion team who's 25 years old. And maybe you restructure a contract like you did for Jalen, and you give this guy what he wants, but you have cap numbers that are beneficial to a 25-year-old linebacker who's a captain of a Super Bowl team who could be on your defense for the next 10 years. That's stupid thinking. I'd rather pay huge money for a linebacker that could solidify my defense with two guys in front who's an experienced green dot guy than a guy that I have to nipple feed for the next 10 weeks. What is your problem? So you'd rather put a guy on training wheels with the green dot than a guy who won a Super Bowl at 25 years old. You can't be any dumber. At any cost. Hey, to win a Super Bowl, it's not cheap. To repeat and get back, it's even more costly. The Eagles are smart at one thing. You know what that is? Being economically sound. You know that's I would rather give up a first-round pick than give up my salary. Here, what's more important to you? Your salary cap or draft picks? My salary cap. Because I can go into the market and find guys like I did a year ago. What you've done this year compared to a year ago, you're relying more on draft picks than veterans. And it's cheaper. It's cheaper. You went cheap in 2023. Even with signing the quarterback. You're a cheaper football team. What big money did you spend this year? Where? Let me know. The quarterback? Okay. Doesn't hit until 2024, but okay. Who? Did you spend a lot of money on Swift? No. You let the guy walk out the building for less money. He's 7. He's 3. Who else? Who'd you bring in that's big money? Well, you brought in a rookie on a rookie deal for your DT, so you exchanged a $20 million guy for a rookie on a rookie contract. Cheap. You brought in Burrow. You went cheap. You let Gardner Johnson go. You went cheap. Every guy you replaced from a year ago made less money today and less experienced. Bradbury deal. Yes. That's right, Kyle. Bradbury got a raise. Even Slade took a haircut. Lane redid his deal. The bulk of that money's next year and the year after. But they did give him a bonus. Yes. You spend a ton of money. You're $13 million under the cap. Last year, heading into the season, you were like $1 million. Brandon Graham took a pay cut. Could have got more money in Cleveland or in New York with the Jets. Brandon Graham didn't get a raise. Fletcher took a pay cut, $4 million. Last year he made 14. Now he's 10. Pay cut. What are you talking about here? Every guy you have in your defense that came back, took a pay cut, except Bradbury, and are making less money than the guys that you replaced them with. Costs a lot of money to have experience. That's why that team was more experienced last year and costs more. Last year's team cost you more. Shit, man. Hargrave was still making – you had 2 tackles last year in your – get this. Your 2 defensive tackles a year ago, one guy made 16 and the other guy made – you had $30 million tied up in your 2 defensive tackles. $30. Now you've got 10. About 13. You're about $13 million. Compared to 30. Think of that. $30 million in DTs last year. This year, 13. That's a $17 million pay cut between your starting tackles. What would it cost for White? Jess, does it matter? Does it matter? Hey, by the way, how many players do you think you are away from winning a Super Bowl? How many players away? Two? Ray, what are those 2 in your eyes? What are the 2 5? I don't think that. Tone says 2. JM says 0. Well, you couldn't win it last year. And you haven't beaten the guy twice. You have done nothing this offseason to show me you're going to be in a position to beat Patrick Mahomes. You've done nothing. Two, right, Jess? Tone says linebacker and safety. So, you got Budda Baker out there, and you have potentially Devin White, depending on what the Bucs do. And you want to give Nakobe a shot. Is that right, everyone? And you want to give Nakobe – I do too. You drafted him third. I mean, you spent a third-round draft choice on him. Let's give him a shot for sure. At least 6 games. And remember something. I like what Tone did because – and this is why I did it this way, Tone. I don't know if Budda gets moved. They just gave him a raise, but the Cardinals have done dumber things. It's just a dopey franchise. See what Tone did here? He wrote down the first 6. You see, then he wrote down 7 to 10. And I'm talking the Buccaneers schedule. What happens? The more losing you get, the more you panic for picks. So early on, White's value to the Bucs is high, and the Eagles won't have the leverage. But the more the season goes on, the more they'll be apt to move him. Now, trading deadline, too, would be a factor in the timing of the schedule. But still, you know, you want to get kind of as close to that trading deadline as possible so that you can maximize the Bucs' failures. It's not about maximizing your failures. It's maximizing the Bucs' failures because they'll be more desperate to move people for next year's April draft. The Bucs have to rebuild. I mean, they're old and expensive and not winning. 3 things you can't have. That's what the Rams are. But they push the chips in to win. You feel me? So, you know what? At the end of the day, if you're a Rams or Bucks fan, you're like, shit, I know, man. And you knew this was coming. If you're a Bucks and Rams fan, you knew this was coming. You knew you were going to go through more horrible losing than moments of winning. And you have to eat it. And you have to be cool with it. 3 years of shitty football for a Super Bowl is worth it in my eyes. Okay? Because at the end of the day, the organization's not going to lose their MO and how they operate. They're going to go back in again. I can't think the last time the Rams had a first-round pick. I don't remember that. I mean, Kevin Demoff and Les Snead, the people that run that organization for Stan Kroenke, I don't remember the last time they had a first-round pick. Totally worth it. Here, let me show you something with Niner guy, Niner all day. Here, think about this. Arizona Cardinals schedule 10. Commanders, Giants. They'll lose that Commander game. They'll lose that Giant game. They'll lose that Cowboy game. They'll lose that 49er game. They'll lose that Bengal game. They'll lose that Rams game. They'll lose the Seahawks. They could lose every one of those games. Cardinals. And they could be just dumping everything. Let me show you here, everyone. Tone everyone. Let me show you here the problem you have. What the Buccaneers and the Rams did by pushing all their chips in to win Super Bowls was worth it. All the draft picks they gave up, all the money they spent. But what the Niners did by giving 3 first-round draft choices away to get Trey Lance, who's a stiff, that's a disaster. That is a complete, utter, structural front office failure. You gave up all that future. You basically were the movie Draft Day without getting your picks back. You surrendered your future and failed. Where the Bucks and the Rams, they won. They won Super Bowls. Niners were better off sending all those picks to Green Bay. What they've done is they gave, in theory, 3 years and the premium quarterback position away. The 49ers have set their franchise back at the quarterback position a decade. Sills acts like he knows it all. Tell me something I'm not saying is true. The Bucks and the Rams pushed their chips in and won Super Bowls. You pushed your chips in your future, your franchise for Trey Lance, and he blows. How is that? And you're trying to crow to me and tell me that Sam Darnold is going to be, this is what you're pitching me. You're pitching me Sam Darnold's the next Geno Smith. Shit, man. You're wishful thinking it, guy. Here's the difference between the 49ers and the Eagles. The 49ers are not Super Bowl contenders. They are not Super Bowl contenders. Because in critical moments, you got garbage and dog shit at quarterback. The Eagles have a kid who's rising. I don't know where you think you got a quarterback in that building. Shit, dude, I'll tell you this. The Eagles' backup quarterbacks of Ian Book and Marcus Mariota are better than any guy you have in that building, including the guy who started, 6 games? And, dude, I'll say this to you. If I'm hard on Jalen, excuse me, who's Brock Purdy again? Who's he? Some guy that filled in, and he's Jeff Hostetler 2.0. He's Jeff Hostetler. Way to build your franchise around. No, you gave up 3 first-round. Hey, Eagle guys, you gave up 3 first-round draft picks for Jeff Hostetler. Hour 3 Philly Godfather's going to join me, man. Holy shit, man. I'll tell you what, in San Francisco, you should go back to brie and cheese because you got a cheese noodle arm quarterback, whoever it is, who will start the 2023 for you. You got dog shit dudes in that room. Hour 3, Power Hour. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I sold my soul to the devil, signed 49erville. Big Sills, National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard. Despite how talented they are, I firmly believe the Niners are scrambling. Of course they're scrambling, Tone. So wait a minute, you go into the football season, get this, it's July 28th, and you don't know who your quarterback is. Well, it's Purdy's. Good luck. You got the most talented roster in the building, and you can't pick the damn quarterback. You haven't had a quarterback in the – why did you move off of Jimmy Garoppolo again? Seriously, help me on this. If you want to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo, okay. To who? One play Trey? So you thought you would gamble for a guy who's been to the NFC Championship game 3 of 5 years that he's been in the building for you, has a 42-17 record for you, to go into this? How? Help me understand that. Help me understand and you trade 3 ones to get this guy here. I'd rather have Mac Jones than Trey Lance. At least that kid can play. How in the world do you look at yourselves on July 28th? One play trade, chicken wing Purdy and Donald Duck. I say more like Goofy Duck. That's tone. I threw Goofy in. You get this. This is, you know what? Do you know what the San Francisco 49ers have in their quarterback room? Lemons. If it was a car dealership, it'd be lemons. They wouldn't even run a Carfax on them because these guys have been winged up so much and hit. Hey, do we have a Carfax on Sam Darnold? Oh, no, we're going to. Is that speedometer working? Darnold Duck. Darnold Duck is the starting quarterback in San Francisco. Hey, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with the gauge in there, man? I'm looking at the gauge. How come that car's got 15,000 miles on it and that window's loose? I don't know. Is there a Carfax on this Darnold Duck? A brand new car called the Darnold Duck. It's in San Francisco. You can only buy it there because it's the only place it's got value. According to that dealer, Kyle Shanahan, the guy with the flat brim, you could see him out front every day. Come buy used cars over here with Kyle Shanahan. We got the brand new Darnold Duck. Look at this bitch, man. Hey, it's been banged up a bit, but you know what? This baby rolls, and I can't believe people don't drive this car more. It's unbelievable. You know what? Personally, I look at it and think that this car here is one of the best cars on the market. It's a Darnold Duck. Nobody drives a Darnold Duck. Are those flat tires? Hey, how come the car has a super glue on the bumper? Hey, seriously, dude. Hey, is that a paint job? How come when I chip it, man, it's got 3 different colors on it? It's the Darnold Duck. Jesus criminy. 49erville, man, you guys got it figured out on who your quarterbacks are. Pretty freaking funny, dog. Hey, but we got one play Trey. Go get him, Niners. Go get him. Hey, at least the Buccaneers didn't waste 3 ones on me. Holy shit. And at least I played at a decent school. This guy played in that white boy conference. What's the name of that conference did Trey Lance play against any brothers? Or did he play against all like beer drinking white guys? Did he play against anybody? Hey, when you see 2 white corners lined up against North Dakota State, you know you shouldn't draft that guy. Hey, who plays corner? Who plays corner? Bob White. What? Bob White? You mean that beer drinking guy? That white guy right there that runs a 5'1"? Yeah, he plays corner. Oh, okay. Holy shit, that's like telling me Babe Ruth, man, his guy here, greatest numbers of all time, he played against white drunk guys. Oh, man, I hate to lay it on you like that, man, but someone's got to tell the truth. You draft a guy from North Dakota State, 11 white guys on defense. If I was a talent scout for the Eagles, I'd be like, Jesus, how fast can I get the L out of here? I mean, shit, I'd rather go recruit an Eskimo. Oh, my God, man. So you got you. Oh, must be bonfire night. Yeah, hey, you see the bonfire? Yeah, I did. Sills, were you at the bonfire? Sills don't go to bonfires at night, man. You never know what's happening at them places. That ain't working for me. Philly Godfather will join us at 5:30 Eastern. Holy cow. Jesus criminy. They draft a guy that Rob, when I looked up Trey Lance's game film and shit, I had to YouTube it. And do you know in the last 4 years, that guy's thrown 416 passes total. And you gave up 3 ones for that guy. Shit. Why? Why would you do that? What made you think he was good knowing that the history Carson Wentz gave you out of that place? Here's a new lesson. Don't ever draft anybody out of North Dakota State again. Just don't. Your competition, okay, can't be the UConn boys summer league guys. It can't be dudes on the UConn Giants. Who does North Dakota State play this week? They play a bunch of white beer drinking guys from the UConn Giants. What? Is that minor league football? Shit, I guess. I don't know. Holy cow. Sills, the hatred for the Niners is amazing. It's not hatred, it's dumbness that they do. How could you not be prepared on July 28th for the start of your season? How could you not be prepared? How could you not be prepared at the most important position? Look, if you don't have a quarterback, and dude, what you want to hear is this. What you want to hear is this. Hey, Sam Darnold. Hey, Tone, watch this. This Sam Darnold guy, unbelievable. I can't believe he's bounced around 10 teams. You're going like, okay, so let me see. Jets, Carolina. Is it 3 teams now in 3 years? How many teams has that guy been to? How many teams has he been on? Sam Darnold's great. If you're barking that, you got problems. 3 teams in 3 years. Am I right, Fly? 3 teams in 3 years. He's a great player, man. I mean it. I said this about Sam Darnold when he came out of college. Guy throws a ton of picks at SC. That's not going to change in the NFL. And it hasn't. Darnold Duck is who Darnold Duck will always be. Darnold Duck. If it walks like a duck, throws passes like a duck, it's Darnold Duck. Hey, Niner guy, Darnold Duck is Darnold Duck. You got 2 guys on your roster now. One play Trey and Darnold Duck. Oh, and what is it? Chicken Wing Purdy. Or I should say Purdy Bird. So you got Purdy Bird, Darnold Duck, and one play Trey. Boy, you got a collection of winners there, boss. Hey, which guy do I want to go into battle with? Well, Darnold Duck is pretty good. Well, what about one play Trey? I don't know. Okay, well, what about Purdy Bird? I don't know either. Which one do I have to pick? Well, you got to pick one. We need a starting quarterback. Hey, if it walks like a duck, throws interceptions like a duck, it's got to be Darnold Duck. Hey, now, Niner, why does it always come back to my career? Why can't I just have some fun with your loser quarterbacks? Why don't you pick Wentz up? That's right. Hey, Niner, why don't you add another stiff to the group? Then you can have a whole, what is it? What did you call it? That running back thing you got going on in Philadelphia, what'd you call it? What'd you call that there, Tone? Your running back room. Because then you could have, like, you could have that in San Francisco now too, right? Like the Eagles have that quorum or whatever of running backs. You got one decent guy and the rest are trash cans. I'm with Tone. Tone gets very offended when I talk about, hey, I'm not putting DeAndre Swift in that room. A bundle. Thank you. A bundle. You got a bundle of quarterbacks. Once you put weak-ass Wentz in there, that's a good name for him, right? Weak Wentz. Darnold Duck. One play Trey and Purdy Bird. You can't get better than that, man. What a collection of losers. Holy shit. Pretty soon Kyle Shanahan's going to play. It's a value pack. I don't want that value pack. Value pack means I get something for value. Value pack of that? I'd rather have Christian McCaffrey, my quarterback. Weak Wentz, Darnold Duck, one play Trey, and Purdy Bird. Poof. There's not a chance in hell the 49ers make it to the NFC title game. I'll tell you this. I'll take Seattle now. Now that you guys have effed this thing up so bad, I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks to win the West. Remember I said that. The 49ers have screwed the quarterback position up so bad this offseason, I'm taking Seattle. It's better coached. They got a quarterback that's turning his career around. They've improved their defense. They got a run game. They got 2,000-yard wide receivers. I'm taking them in an upset. Get this. Here we go. Report. You better be ready here. The vibes coming out of 49er training camp now is that Sam Darnold Duck, a.k.a., will be the team's number 2. And one play Trey will be the third team quarterback per Pro Football Talk San Francisco. Should look into trading Trey Lance for a bag of vittles if he does indeed end up as the team's third team quarterback. What a colossal failure. Trey one play Lance is now the third team quarterback in San Francisco. This guy's a bigger bust than Ryan Leaf. He's the biggest quarterback bust in NFL history. The biggest bust in NFL history. Oh, ugh, ow, damn. For sure, especially when you consider what they gave up. Right. You know, hey, it's one thing to be wrong on a first-round pick. Ask Howie. It's another thing to go, here's 3 ones to Miami to move up to that spot. Oh, Jesus. What was the draft that he was taken into? One play Trey. What draft was Trey Lance drafted in? 2021. The 2021 NFL draft was the 2021 NFL draft. Let's see where this stiff. Let's hear. Here we go. Okay. So you could have taken. Shit, Kyle Pitts is better. Jamar Chase. Penei Sewell. Devontae Smith. Micah Parsons. Mac Jones is better. Landon Dickerson went in a second. So you got Darnold Duck now as your starting quarterback maybe in San Francisco. Did I say Darnold Duck? if you're a 49er fan, you've got Purdy Bird starting. You've got Darnold Duck as your backup, and one play Trey now is your third-team guy. You think you're ready for the start of the NFL season? Hey, we have a Super Bowl roster. Shit, and you know what you got? An Arena League football team led by Arena League quarterbacks. There's stronger quarterbacks right now at the Houston Gamblers of the USFL than in San Francisco. Oh, man. Holy shit. You got to be kidding me, man. I'll say it one more time to you. Kyle Shanahan's overrated. You got to win, son. You got to win. All right. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the man who riles up Philly, I think more than me. And see, he does it with a smile and a bag of money. You see, that's the difference between Philly Godfather and Big Sills. Big Sills talks shit. He puts the money behind his shit. But saying, this is what I'm going with here, okay? See, I'm just a shit talker. These guys who put the lines up, these are the guys who are really the analysts. Let's go to Philly Godfather here. He joins us now. What's up, brother?
What's up, my man? Another beautiful day in the city of brotherly love. We got an excessive heat warning out here. People are dropping like flies, so it's getting hot out here, man.
Absolutely. All right, dude, give me your take on this 2023 season. I said this. The most important player that could potentially be out there, and I want to get this list here for you, too, because we went over it with everybody early. I said the most important, and I'm not going to use Jalen Hurts here. I put these guys out here. Here are my 9 guys. I got Terrell Edmonds, Nakobe Dean, DeAndre Swift, Dallas Goedert, Darius Slay. These are for all numerous reasons. Jalen Carter, AJ and Devontae, put them together. Hassan Reddick, Lane Johnson. These are the most important Eagles if they want to go back and repeat as NFC champions. Who do you think that guy is?
I think number 1 is Lane Johnson. I mean, he's the most important person on this team. I mean, he's been unreal. He's maybe the best of all time. He hasn't given up a sack in I don't know how many years. But you notice how different the offensive line plays when he's injured or he's out of the game. There's a huge drop-off with that offensive line. So to me, he's the most important person on this Eagles team. And if anything happens to him, it could change the whole trajectory of the whole season. I mean,
hey, Philly, check this out. So when he's on the field, they're a 626 win percentage team. When he's off the field, they're 371. They've won 79 and 47 and 1. And when he doesn't play, they're 13 and 22.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding right there. Exactly. You got the stats in front of you. I don't have them in front of me, but I just know from watching over the years how what a difference this guy makes on that offensive line. And if you can't protect your quarterback, you're going to have serious issues. Last year, the Eagles struggled against teams with the top 10 sack percentage. They split with the Cowboys. They split with the Commanders. They beat the Colts by 1 point. They lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, and they lost to the Saints, even though they were missing their quarterback. But this year, this team is going to play 6 teams on their schedule. They're ranking the top 10 in sack percentage from last year, and that's not even counting the 49ers, who, when healthy, their defensive line is just as good as anybody. So they got some issues this year. They're going to really have to protect their quarterback.
Do you think that game in the week opener is going to be more of a challenge? You know, Tone and I are talking like 30-23 in that week opener because you got a 1,000-yard back. You got a guy who had almost 1,500 yards in total offense as a running back, and that Stevenson kid. They got 3 guys almost with double-digit sacks. They got that kid, Christian Gonzalez, plus they got Belichick. They've got Bill O'Brien back in the building. I think that is an influence on Mac Jones, who was his coach when he was at Alabama. You think that game's closer than what people think, and maybe even guys like you, 5.5? Could that number come down by the time the season starts?
Well, we talked about it last time I was on your show. I was hoping the line went to 7, and I would have bet a ton of money on the Patriots plus 7. The line opened up 5 and went to as high as -6. And now the money's actually going the other way. The line's down to 4.5 in some of the sharper sports books offshore and a couple books in the States. So there's some money betting the Patriots here at +6, +5.5, and +5. And they're moving the market. And, you know, the fans' opinion is great, and the media guys' opinions. You got to listen to it. But it's the sports books who back their opinion with millions and millions of dollars, and that line is dropping. This is a market like any other market, and when you see a number start to plunge, there's something going on there.
What does an injury like the one to Joe Burrow do to a line and to expectations? And prior to that, guys like you do all your intel. You look at what's going on with teams, what is back from a year ago. They lost guys in that secondary too. You already lose secondary guys, and now you could potentially lose Burrow for the first month of the season here. What does that do to a line?
To the point spread, he's worth at least 7 points to the point spread, depending on who you're playing and who the backup is on that Bengals team. But yeah, he's worth.
Simeon.
He's worth at least 7 points to the point spread.
Yeah. Oh, hey, by the way, I said this too, Philly. Godfather, I went. If I'm Joe Burrow, man, I will not step on another football field until my contract is done. You get that deal done now because you just gave Justin Herbert $262.5 million. I'm not getting on that field unless you give me $270, and we'll go from there. Thank God it's not anything devastating. It's more of a calf strain than it is structural. But do you agree? You don't put that guy back on the field again.
No, absolutely not. He's worth all of $270. I'd give him $300. I mean, to me, who is it? Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, best quarterbacks in the NFL. Who's better than those two?
Absolutely. All right. Jalen Hurts. All right. I got a couple over-unders on you, and I want to do this. And first, I want to start out in the NFC East. Washington Commanders, over-under 8 wins. They were 8-1 last year.
I know. And they had a lot of issues, a lot of problems. They got a great pass rush. They beat the Eagles as 11-point underdogs last year.
With Tyler Heineke.
Yeah. It's right there, man. I wouldn't bet it either way, but it's close. If anything, Giants got better. Giants were really injured last year. They're going to be healthy.
They're playing a tougher schedule, the East.
Tougher schedule. Cowboys got better. The Eagles are really good. It's right there, man. To be honest, I wouldn't bet it either way.
Giants, over under 9 wins.
Man, they got a tough schedule this year. I'm going to say over.
Ooh, wow. So you think the Giants are real?
I think they win at least 9 games. At least. And if the ball bounces their way and maybe a couple of the other teams in the NFC East get a little banged up, they can sneak in there. I mean, they're really good. And I think Danny Jones has a good year. Last year, they were banged up. I think they were the 3rd most injured team in the NFL. This year, they're healthy, but their schedule's a little tougher. They got a great coach. I mean, their coach is unreal. You saw what he did last year. He was making a lot of magic there. At least 9 wins.
Do you think that Daniel Jones is comparable to Jalen Hurts?
He's going to have to prove it this year. I mean, if he is, he's going to have to prove it. He's great at running the ball. He has flashes of brilliance, but sometimes he gets brain cramps. He's going to have to step it up this year. He's going to have to step it up.
The Dallas Cowboys, over under 11 wins.
Over.
Oh, holy shit. So you think over 11 wins for the Cowboys?
I think they're going to win the division. Like I said, everyone's opinion is great, but these bookmakers, if you look at the look-ahead lines, if you look at the common opponents between the Eagles and the Cowboys on the point spreads, they got point spreads out for every game of the season until week 17, and they're almost identical. I mean, with common opponents, the Eagles versus Washington, I think they're laying 3 on the road. Cowboys are laying 3 on the road. You go up and down the point spread. If anything, there's a point difference. So, the bookmakers think the Cowboys are almost as good as the Eagles, and they could be better. I mean, depending on who gets hurt and who gets banged up during the season.
Do you think the Eagles sweep the Commanders?
No.
Do you think the Eagles sweep the Giants?
No.
Do you think the Eagles sweep the Cowboys?
No. Last year they went 7-1 on the road. This year they have an extra road game. And if you look at the teams they beat last year, they beat the Colts by a point. They sneaked by Detroit by 3. They sneaked by Arizona by 3. They beat the Bears by 5. Who else did they play? The Texans. The game was almost tied going into the fourth quarter. They lost to the Cowboys on the road. And the teams they played on the road last year had a combined record of like 52-80. They were horrible, and they barely got by them. This year, they're playing 4 teams who are favored to make the playoffs. It's going to be a tough paper out this year on the road. They'll be lucky to go 5-4 on the road. And if I had to bet it, I think they go 4-5 on the road this season.
Oh, so okay. Over under Eagles 11 wins.
It's right there, man. It's right there. I don't want to say under because, they're stacked on offense. Their offensive line is still great. To me, their biggest issue is the linebackers and the safeties. I mean, there's going to be a big hole there, and teams are going to be able to take advantage of that. And as great as that pass rush was last year, they're not going to have 70 sacks again this year. I mean, let's be honest. All that fourth down conversion rate ain't going to be as high as it was last year on offense. 11 wins. I think they win at least 11 games. I think it's right there.
If Dalvin Cook signs with the Jets this weekend, and now with the injury to Burrow and the Bengals, in your mind, do you think
It's the undefeated. It's a Joe Namath team. Everyone signed the helmet.
Oh, that's dope, man. Holy cow, that's great. My friend Winston Hill's got to be on that bitch. That's awesome, man.
He's on there.
So if they get Dalvin Cook and they don't let him leave the building this weekend, you think that elevates the Jets more into a position where their chances of being more of a playoff player, not just a playoff team, Godfather, but a playoff contender and going far? Do you think that changes the room, or do you think they're already there anyway?
I think they're already there with Aaron Rodgers. That defense is unreal. It definitely helps. I mean, he's a game changer. So in certain key situations, when you need someone to break a tackle and take it to the house, he's definitely one of those guys. It doesn't change. Doesn't do anything to the point spreads on the season, to the season win totals, to the Super Bowl odds. It won't even move the needle at all. But when you need a guy in the playoffs in the fourth quarter who's been there, who's been battle tested, you played football, and you give him the ball, he's going to make something happen. So yeah, it definitely makes the team a little bit better. It doesn't change the odds on any of the games or on the season win totals. It just makes them a stronger team. And with Aaron Rodgers back there, as long as he can stay healthy, I mean, they can beat anybody.
I tell you something that's changing for Rodgers too, in my opinion of him a little bit. So you take a $35 million haircut so that you could potentially sign guys like Dalvin Cook. Man, if I were in that locker room, all the shit that was said about him in Green Bay, maybe it was the management issues that he had with them. Maybe it was their personnel decisions. Maybe it was the way that they ran it. Because both quarterbacks, right, Godfather, at the end, Favre and Rodgers had a horrible exit and divorce with that franchise. And now all of a sudden, this guy's fallen in love with what's going on in New York and with the Jets and Woody and with Joe Douglas. I mean, maybe it was the environment there, because the things he's doing now in New York with the Jets, I never saw any of that being done in Green Bay in the 17 years he played up there. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, when Favre left, he had success when he left. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have success with the Jets. The Jets' biggest problem is their offensive line. They got to secure that offensive line. If they can't, it's going to make things more difficult. But Aaron Rodgers is so good. He disguises a lot of the inefficiencies on that offensive line. So even if your offensive line ain't the best of the best, he can still look good doing it back behind the center. So yeah, I think he's going to have a lot of success in New York.
The 49ers over under 11 wins.
Seattle's really good. I think San Francisco's a little weak this year, but they got no quarterback. I mean, who's their quarterback?
And right now, here are the reports that Trey Lance is now the third team guy, and Darnold Duck is now the second team guy and pushing Purdy Bird. I mean, it's a train wreck of a quarterback room up there. And get this too. I told these people, Godfather, this. I said this. I go, so if you're the Rams and the Bucks, and you're going to have 3 years of shitty football, but both of you won Super Bowls, you're kind of going to swallow that. But if you gave up 3 wins in your future and that guy's a stiff and you haven't won a Super Bowl, that's a disaster. Has to be a disaster in San Francisco. John Lynch, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I know football. I've been watching it, since I was a kid, 40 years, maybe longer. And I kept saying, what are they seeing this kid in Trey Lance? And, and then I would, pump the brakes and be like, well, I'm not on the practice field. These guys are running football teams. They got to know more than me. And in the end, I don't know what they saw in that kid. And they spent almost everything on that. I just don't know what they were thinking. You still got to give him a chance, I guess. He's got a small sample size. But again, I haven't seen anything from Trey Lance that impresses me. So I think it was a disaster.
How about this? If you ever look at a quarterback and he's in a conference where you got 2 white guy corners and you got a quarterback that has these giant, wide open, beer drinking 11, you got 11 white guys on defense, and there's Trey Lance. I don't know, man. I'm not drafting anybody out of that. I'm just that kid. There's no Jason Sehorns when you're talking about playing against like North Dakota State. Is that how you'd say it? I don't know where the hell. I'm with you. Why would you draft a guy? Do you know he's only had 416 passes in the last 4 years?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm picking a quarterback out of college, I want to make sure he looked good against the SEC, against some of the bigger squads. Like you said, I mean, when you're playing against a bunch of nobodies, you can't really gauge how good the kid is, no matter what his numbers are. Those numbers are skewed. They're just not right. Where if you look at a kid who's played, the SEC, the Alabamas, the Georgias, and he's looked pretty good, well, he's probably better than what he looked on that field against some really good defenses.
Okay, I got a Carson Wentz question for you. Carson Wentz was in Philadelphia for 5 years. I think 5 or 6. They won a Super Bowl. You don't get home field advantage without him going 11-2. They win a division title. They win a conference title. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He's the all-time single-season yardage king and also most touchdown passes in the history of the franchise. Do you think that era was a success or failure?
I think he was the right choice. I had him that year he got hurt for MVP at 50-1, and Brady beat me out because he got hurt. I think the injuries played a toll on him. I know he hurt his back, hurt his leg. That concussion he suffered against the Seahawks in that playoff game, I mean, that couldn't have helped either. I think a lot of things happened to Carson Wentz to change his destiny as an NFL player. And a success. I mean, they won a Super Bowl, and they don't win a Super Bowl without him. Let's be honest.
Well, you do not get home field advantage unless he goes 11-2 and sets the table for that team to get into the postseason and make that run. Without him playing like that, you don't win home field.
No, and I don't think as great as Foles looked in the playoffs, and I love Nick Foles, I don't think he could have done it for the entire season like that. They call lightning in the bottle. They got a little lucky with the wind against the Falcons in the playoffs. Minnesota came in a soft dome team. When they left that dome, they weren't the same. And, I mean, they did it in the Super Bowl, man. I mean, I remember going on every radio show, and I was so confident in that Eagles team because the nucleus was so good. And if you just took the quarterbacks off those teams, the Patriots and the Eagles were 100 times better. Tom Brady made that Patriots team that good. And I said Brady's going to have the game of his life to beat us in the Super Bowl. And he threw for 500 yards, and he still couldn't beat us. So it was just a magical season. But without Wentz, they don't get there.
All right, I got 2 last questions for you here. Nick Sirianni, what's your take on him? He doesn't play call. He was 2-5 when he was the play caller. He's kind of a manager a little bit. He doesn't really have a lot of say in the personnel. That's Howie's room, along with picking the coaches is Howie's room. Your sense of, because Andy was the play caller, had some say with Joe Banner and the personnel. Obviously, Doug was the play caller, along with Frank. and there was a lot of going back and forth there. So there was a lot more coaching. There were a lot more coaches with those other guys than what Nick does. And I'm not saying he's not as an influence on the offense, but what's your take on him?
At first, I wasn't sure.
That dopey-ass press conference that he had, yeah.
That kind of shook you, and he was talking about planting flowers or something. I forget what he said, and Andy Reid had fired him, right, when he was with the Chiefs. But you can't argue with success. And for me to come here and say he's not a good coach or, I don't think he's as good as other coaches, I'm not going to do that because the guy's been winning. And not last year, but the year before, that team exceeded all expectations. Now they are stacked, but this year is going to be a true test of how good this coach is. If losing in the Super Bowl, if he can come back this year, a lot of coaches, the following year, their team don't perform. So if he can come back,
it's been 53 years since a team lost the Super Bowl, went back and won it, and was the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's not easy. So even if he gets to the playoffs, if he gets to the championship game, it's going to be a successful year. If they win the Super Bowl, obviously it's going to be awesome for Philly. But I'm not going to say he's a bad coach. I'm just not sold on him as a great coach yet. But he's been a pretty good coach so far.
Better coach, Doug Peterson or Nick Sirianni?
Doug Peterson.
Better coach, Doug Peterson or Andy Reid?
Andy Reid.
Even though what he's done, he completely turned Trevor Lawrence back around again after Urban Liar was down there, and he takes over for Urban Liar, and he's completely saved that guy. And remember something, the Chiefs versus the train wreck of the Jags. So he's changed the culture around too. I think Doug is underrated.
I think he's underrated too, but in order for me to put him above Andy, I need more years, right? You need more years to see what happens. But in all honesty, Dougie P won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, and Andy Reid's got Patrick Mahomes that did it for him. So, you put Patrick Mahomes on any of those Doug Peterson teams, he might have 4 Super Bowl wins.
I am going to sneak one more in on you here because we had a debate on this. And my boy Tone, who was born and raised in Philadelphia, let me have it here on this. So Jeffrey Lurie's entering his 30th year as owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's won 1 Super Bowl in those 30 years. Do you think he's over or underachieved as owner of the Eagles?
I think he's overachieved.
Why?
It's so hard. It's so hard to win a Super Bowl. Who was winning the Super Bowls? Tom Brady's, Peyton Manning's. The Eagles never had that quarterback with Andy Reid, but that team got there every year. Who's been to the championship more than the Eagles in the past 20 years? The Patriots. I think he's overachieved. I didn't expect him to be that good of an owner when he showed up, and the Eagles have been a really good team almost each and every year since he's been the owner. So, it's not easy to do in the NFL.
So you think he's better than Leonard the Toad?
Well, at least he's not in Atlantic City playing blackjack and losing all his money.
or the guy in France, his buddy would say, Norman Brayman. Yeah, the guy in France.
I want to know who hired Ray Rhodes as a coach for the NFL.
So this is what we're going to start doing because if you're not shaking it up, in my opinion, if you're not shaking it up, you're nobody. And you shake it up. So we're going to do this every Friday at 5:30 Eastern with our boy, Philly Godfather. And he's going to set us up for the weekend. I can't wait for the upcoming NFL season, man. As we get, hey, do you do a lot of stuff when it comes to preseason ball, or is that not going to happen?
No, we bet everything. Anywhere we have an edge. If I could pitch quarters and the one, coin's a little banged up, I'm going to bet. Wherever we got an edge, we're going to fire away. And I won't bet on anything if I don't think I have an edge on it. It's all about positive expectations.
Your new nickname is Let It Roll.
Yeah. Listen, just get in shape because we might have a little movie role for you.
I am stoked. I posted this, and now that Godfather just said this, so he's trying to work me into a movie that he's involved in here, and Big Seals is going to have to play like like some sort of biker guy, which it's not a hard reach for me. Hey, let me give it to you what I did. So I showed up at a press conference because those Hurricane teams back in the day were maniacs, right?
Yeah.
So I found this Hell's Angels jacket at an Army Navy store. So I put it on. I walk into a press conference. I got this Hell's Angels jacket on. Jimmy Johnson's going, oh my God. I sit down, they start talking to me, and I go, what do you want to know? and they go like this. Oh my, and it just fed into the entire. Get this, Mike Missinelli's writing, because he was writing for the Inquirer at the time, and he's a big Penn State honk. And he's going like, he goes, oh, here's these guys. These guys are monsters. And hilarious. Jimmy's like, so you come into a press conference with a Hell's Angels jacket on. Jerome's looking over at me going, this is hilarious.
That's awesome. That's
Thank
a great
you, brother. I'm very stoked about this too, man. It's really cool.
Well, you know how to ride a motorcycle too, so it's perfect.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. My friend, have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday at 5:30. We really appreciate you.
You got it, man. Have a good one, guys.
You got it. Billy Godfather joining us, and he'll be doing this now each and every single Friday at 5:30. So we have Mondays and Fridays set for the upcoming football season. Gary Cobb, 4:30. Our boy, Philly Godfather. We're trying to work Jimmy Johnson every Wednesday at 5:30 also. So we're going to have 3 of the work days covered for you during the football season. So we look forward to that as well. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Heading down the shore, have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Sills Motion Pictures. Get myself there. Looking good. Feeling good, Billy Ray? Looking good, Billy Ray. Big Sills movies. You know, I should have thought about that a long time ago. Let me see. No, that's not cutting it. No. That's not working for me. No. Let's see here. No. Yeah, I don't know. Big Sills Motion Pictures. Jesus, Ramini, Madon. Look like an escaped convict. If it's an escaped convict, I'm in. That Sills in motion. That's not funny, JM. Shut your hole. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Couple questions on the way out the door. Great movie, Jeffrey. Way to get your references. I love people who get movie references. One of the darkest movies that you could ever watch is Trading Places, because he actually puts a gun to his head and pulls the trigger. So he was going to kill himself in a comedy. It was a great scene if you think about it. Anyway, yeah, so I wasn't going to really say who said that. And so he said, yeah, man, they're in the process right now of looking at directors, and they go, I got a role for you. And I was like, okay, what is it? He goes, a biker guy. And he goes, have you ever acted? I go, well, I was in Any Given Sunday, one of the extras in the rain. And I did another movie. This is the funniest thing on the planet. I did a Miami Vice, and it was the one with Phil Collins. They got a bunch of Miami Hurricane guys to do. It was down in the Grove, Coconut Grove. And I don't know what we got for it. I think we got $100 a day. And we were there for around a week. And we were there. We were doing all these scenes because it was in a club. And Phil Collins was on it. And when Phil Collins played the Orange Bowl, I remember he gave us tickets. The guys that were in that series with you guys remember, you guys are probably like this. What's Miami Vice? Yeah. It was, hey man, I was 16 years old. So I was 17 years old then. But it was Miami Vice. Okay. Jeffy goes, you doing any tailgating at the Link this year? I think the Krauses are definitely going to have my big ass out there this year at the Link. I know this. We're going to be in. How about this, Jeffy? We're going to be at King of Prussia Hooters. They are stoked and excited about the upcoming season and them being the home of our show starting this fall. So we're looking for that. Hey, man, so I did those two things. I did a EA Sports. We did something for EA Sports because EA Sports at one time was located in Orlando. It may be still based in Orlando. We did something there, and I did another movie scene because Jamie Williams asked me. He goes, because they filmed it at the Orange Bowl. Any Given Sunday was filmed at the Orange Bowl, and I was living in Florida at the time. And they were going like, hey, do you want to come down and do you want to do this? And Jamie was a tight end. Jamie may have even played for the Eagles. Okay. Cowboy Godfather will be joining every Friday. Oh, you're putting Cowboy on him? Really? Speaking of the Cowboys, weapon, everyone. You think the Cowboys are better off with Mike McCarthy as the play caller than Kellen Moore? Bruce goes, 90 kids, Sil. I don't know what you're talking about. Dude, I'll have to look at Nickelodeon. Joe Robbie Stadium sucked. I hate Joe Robbie Stadium because now it's Hard Rock. Okay? I refuse to go to Hard Rock where the Canes play. I refuse it. Come on, Sills. Giants 9-10 win team. No way. No way. JM, no way. No way. I don't see it. No way. No way in hell. Okay? No way. Commanders at 8? I don't see it. I don't see 8. I see under. I see under 8. All right. Hey, dude, we're like 10 days out from the start of like football when it comes to the Hall of Fame game between the Jets and Browns. Can you believe that already? Unbelievable. Thank you guys so much for making it work for us each and every single day. We so appreciate it. Yeah, even you, JM. We appreciate you. Even you, Niner dude. We appreciate all you guys coming aboard. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button. Make sure you guys have a spectacular weekend. I want to say this about the Krauses. Thank you so much. You really was awesome this week with you guys. Thank you, guys. Big Joe, thank you. I know I give you a lot of shit. Xander, thank you as always. You are a rock for us. Tone, you're the dude that rolls us around the room and you make it happen for us each and every single Monday through Friday. Without you, we can't work. Our show does not work without Tone. Always know that. This is a team here. It's not just me. It's this guy as well. So it's important to let him know that without him running the show, we have no show. So have a great weekend, Tone. 3 to 6 on Monday. We'll see you next week, and I'll see you on the flip side.